These are all the minis that I finished painting in 2025. Stick around. In this video I will do a summary, kind of year-end review, recap of that process, offer some of the tips and tricks that seemed kind of helpful for me, and hopefully help motivate you if you're trying to get more of your minis finished.
We may not win today, gentlemen, but we'll have a good time.
Here it is in all its glory. This was really incredible to get this all set out. This took me about an hour and a half to get all the minis out and set them up. It made me realize how incredible movement trays could be, so I need to try that out in the future. And what I've done is I've set it up not by army, but by the month, the minis that I completed. When I was painting, I just kept an index card right beside my station, and I would keep track of what I finished, and at the end I totaled up like the models and the points. So I've laid out those cards that I used during the year, and from January kind of going across and then starting a new row all the way to December. So I've done my best to kind of group them up, beside the card. That's the month that they were painted. Some months a little easier to place, some months a little more productive and with wider bases or flying vehicles that overhang their bases, a little harder to cram in there. But this is everything. I'm not going to recap like the stats for each month. I did a little short video each month, and that has those stats in it, but I will kind of look at the overall stats real quick. I'll throw them up about what it was for the year on average, how many points and models per day. But this is all of it. And when I first was doing this, I was kind of shooting towards in the summer here, so kind of in these months, I think like this, right? Yeah, July. There we go. Was when I kind of had a 40th birthday party. Me and a buddy were both turning 40, and we did a 40K 40th birthday. And so I had been painting before then, but during this kind of Christmas break, holiday time up here, I realized I really needed to get a plan together for having enough things finished and painted for everybody that was coming to kind of each have a decent sized army to kind of have fun. And so I kind of had to like really assess where I was and how much I needed to get done then. And then I just kind of felt like after I started doing it, it'd be kind of cool to carry it out throughout the year and just see how it went. I don't really do like New Year's resolutions. Like if I'm going to do something, I just try to plan it and just do it, whether it's the beginning of the year or not. But the timing for when I kind of realized that just kind of worked out that it feels a little bit like a New Year's resolution. But if you're watching this and it's not a New Year's resolution, and you're kind of looking for motivation to start painting, I would just say kind of start whenever. I'm going to kind of go over some of the things that seemed like tips and tricks that kind of helped me to stay on point and stay motivated, and some of the strategies that I used. But it's just kind of neat, the accomplishment of at the end of the year kind of getting everything out and seeing it all laid out here. So that is all of it together. It's really tough to get it all in one shot, isn't it? Yeah, I can't back up far enough. Okay, my first tip or recommendation is to make sure that you be a good friend to yourself. This is a phrase that I use like with my kids and sometimes with other friends if it comes up, just to highlight the very human phenomenon of over the same things being very negative and harsh towards yourself, and very accepting and supporting of others, like over the same thing. And I just think it's kind of important to be aware of that and try to get in a good positive headspace, right? Especially with all the stuff like that circles around, like the meme of like the pile of shame, right? It's fine to make fun of it, right, and try to motivate yourself, but if you're being really negative about like, oh, beating yourself up, why can't I get this done, or like I tried to get this done and I didn't get as far as I wanted, and just poor self-talk, right? If that kind of thing comes up, it's like, man, you would never do that to your friend, right? Whatever excuse, like, that you're calling yourself out in your head. If your friend said the same thing, like, oh, they got caught up with something, took up more time than they thought, or they got distracted with this or that, you would never like berate them over the same things, it seems like. And I think it's just important to like be aware of that, and just come at it from a positive space, because I know there have been times when I've been trying to paint a lot and I've been in a more negative headspace in that way and kind of frustrated with myself and like, oh, why can't tackle more of this pile of shame? I hate that this is building up. I want to get these done. And it just can really easily like kill the fun of painting. Painting is incredibly awesome, and the sense of accomplishment when you get something done, it's amazing. And I think watch some Bob Ross videos or something, right? That's the idea. Be accepting of yourself, and that things are going to take time, and that there are like realistic reasons why things might not go so fast, and just try to be aware of them, but like validate yourself, accept yourself, like for all those things, and just factor them in, right? Don't get frustrated or mad about them, but like identify them and work around them and be fine with it. I think being in that positive headspace just changes the whole game for many painting. I find like if I really make an effort to do that, it's just a lot more fun when I sit down to paint, obviously. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. I think this is obviously something that translates to a lot of other things in life, but I think it's really important if you're going to sit down and like try to dedicate a lot of consistent time with it. I think you're going to have a much better process and outlook if you can kind of get into that positive headspace. So that's my number one kind of recommendation, is kind of start there with a little introspection. Make sure you're coming at it in a positive way, right? The next step I would have is to find a way to give yourself some data about your painting so that you can get some feedback. If you don't get feedback on how you're performing or how you're progressing with this goal, it's going to be really hard to make adjustments or to realize what kind of pace you're on, or kind of meet those goals, right? So for me, that was like the cards, very simple, right? Just tracking month by month, just what got completely finished and painted. But by seeing that, I could kind of see some patterns where I would have a really big month where a lot of things get finished, and it would be followed by a little bit smaller month where I needed to get more assembly and priming and prep kind of done. And it seemed like it kind of went up and down like each month. So realizing that needs to be kind of a factor when I'm planning ahead for trying to get a lot of stuff painted, made me realize I might just want to get a bunch assembled and primed and kind of ready to go, so that when I feel really motivated to paint a certain army or specific thing and want to tackle it, it's kind of ready to go. But that's just something I picked up from just a small little bit of data. Other people might even put other more helpful things too. If you did like a log or a journal, you could keep track of what specific paints you do, or if you're kind of doing some mixing between colors, you might want to jot that down. But you could even kind of log the time and kind of see, for you, if that's an important part of tracking, you would maybe get deeper insights from even more data about things, about how much you actually were able to paint each night, or if you're trying to paint a little bit each night, or certain days of the week, or whatever it is. Tracking it, having some data, being able to look back on it, will just give you something to be able to accurately assess it, because otherwise you're just kind of trying to eyeball it, like in your own head, how you feel about it. And I just think it's very helpful to kind of have that objective part of the feedback to improve with it. That really leads right into another tip is I feel like breaking up the process. If you're just thinking about finished painting minis and just thinking of that end goal, there's a lot of steps that go into it. And so every time you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to finish painting minis, and like, oh, don't get it done, I feel like I'm failing. Well, you're not thinking about maybe like all those steps. And I've kind of touched on this a little bit here and there, I think, but the first thing, I kind of consider it a accomplished step just to get them assembled and cleaned up. Another step is just to prime or get like a base coat down, right? Just get it ready to to go to paint. And then another step for me, sometimes I feel like a good completed step is like the orcs. I kind of have a special recipe for the yellow that I really like for the Bad Moons. It's different from the Imperial Fist yellow. So since that is kind of a main thing on a lot of their armor, or I want it to all kind of look the same, or using an airbrush to do a certain thing across a bunch of models, I would try to do that step and then feel like that part is completed, and then go on to like adjust the details, cleaning up things, painting by hand, sort of thing. But and however you want to divide it up in your mind, whatever kind of makes sense for you, right? But that way I kind of have smaller steps that feel completed, and I feel like it's a success when I just get the models assembled and cleaned up and they look really nice, or each of those subsequent painting steps. And I think finding again, it kind of goes hand in hand with that objective and feedback and stuff, finding a way to chop things up into smaller goals, I think will help it to help you feel the accomplishment, and kind of for that to compound and snowball, right? Rather than it just always being this nebulous paint the minis, finish minis. Well, there's a lot of steps that go into that. So breaking it down and then realizing when you accomplish all those individual steps, I think can be really helpful and kind of encouraging and motivating. So something to think about. Another tip that is a little bit more specific to me maybe is sometimes I feel like I get a little analysis paralysis about how far I want to go with the quality of painting. And what has really helped me over the years is just realizing I can come back and upgrade some of those details if I want. But the thing that helps make me feel more comfortable about doing that is, like I've said, doing the assembly really well, filling in seams that don't quite fit, or if there's a crack where two pieces meet, like a lot of my Tyranids, I'll show you one, the shoulder carapace, right? And any of those kind of things. If I get those done, right, and I think that, hey, that's all done really well, when I come back to something and a mold line doesn't jump out at me, then I go, okay, I feel more motivated to try upping the quality of that on that model, or trying a different technique with it. But if I come back and I want to kind of like upgrade the paint job and do a little bit more with it, and then I see like, oh, there's a bunch of gaps and that mold line really sticks out, and I can see it. Well, if that's going to be in the way, why do I want to keep going painting? It makes me want to sand down that mold line and have to prime that area a little bit again, and that kind of keeps me from doing that. So when I do that, when I take a little bit more time and I feel like it's assembled really well and it's nice and clean, that just makes me feel like, hey, if I get them to just battle ready now, or whatever standard you're going for, I'm not going to feel bad about trying to up the paint job later and kind of revisiting it, right? That's just something that has kind of helped me. I don't know if that'll be the case for anybody, but just wanted to share that as well. And this is kind of what I mean, right? The tail comes together in a few different pieces, and I have really tried to make it seamless on the plastic there, that you can't really see those seams, so it just looks like one smooth tail. I know there's watermarks with the way I dilute down the shade. I need to come back and touch up a little bit and do the skin, but I'm not worried about that. That's kind of how I do my Tyranid skin for my Leviathan. But I don't have to worry about that looking goofy with a gap there on the tail. It makes me feel like I feel good about pouring more time into it, because the base, the foundation is really good. And I realized I missed filling in like this carapace here. So like, again, that might stick out and kind of bug me. So I know if I take the time and I get that now, I'll never really have a regret about whatever standard I kind of get him to. I can always come back and up it, and I know that base foundation of how it's assembled looks really good, and it makes me feel good about sinking more time into it, or trying things out, upgraded techniques or different techniques later. So there you go. Those are some of the tips and kind of bigger takeaways that I feel like really helped me, or that I kind of realized keeping track and doing this painting challenge. I hope they were helpful. try to come at it from a positive headspace, be encouraging, motivating to yourself, the way that you're kind of thinking about this and talking to yourself. Get some data for feedback, right? Chart it, kind of get something where you can kind of look at something externally to give you some feedback on how the process is going. It'll help you identify some things, and just break it up into like smaller steps. Identify that might kind of go hand in hand with the data stuff, but identify little steps. Don't just make it one huge goal. Then it's always like a really big thing, and you always feel like you're failing at it. But if you can chop up things, you'll feel that I felt like I had that success step at a time, and that just kind of kept me going. So those are some of the big things for me. If you've got any questions for me about how this went or what my thoughts are on something for like painting and kind of getting through a lot of bulk painting like this, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best. And also, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. Rob and I kind of have plans now that I've kind of got a lot of stuff painted, right? We're maybe excited to do some Warfleets videos or 40k kind of crusade, Tyranids versus orcs. So let us know if those kind of sound interesting as well. We'll kind of probably work on those videos sometime as soon as we can. But anyway, I hope you found it helpful again, and thanks for watching, and Happy New Year. We'll see you in the next one.